much interesting. As I said before, this is the message I have been sharing, you know, with kids and parents so they can have a better understanding of the process and what is transpiring so they can balance their books, balance their soccer, you know, life on the soccer field and off the soccer field, how you carry yourself on campus, how you carry yourself as a person. You know, all these things have a lot to do with it. You know, you also on social media sites, if you're in a school and you up on a social media sites and have things posted on a social media sites, these things has an adverse effect on your scholarship. And
Precisely.
a lot of parents and kids don't understand that. Like, for instance, I was reading about a month or two ago, I believe a particular incident happened in a particular state, and a young lady went up on her social media page, and she was not in that state, and she wrote something contrary pertaining to what happened to that person. And by chance, the dean of the school and they saw what she wrote, and she was there on a scholarship, and they cut her scholarship.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Anthony, because as I said, when I played, we didn't have social media, we didn't have cell phones and all of that sort of stuff. But I recall having that very conversation with my son. And for those of you, I'm going to give him a little plug here. His name is Opong, O-P-O-N-G, Opong Bramble. You can follow him on Instagram and so on. He's into music, he's into poetry. And I recall when he was at Canterbury School in Connecticut. Yeah, Canterbury is in Connecticut. It's a prep school, and something he put up on his Instagram page, and I said, man, look, you're trying to get a scholarship to go to university, and coaches they search everything about you. They look for you on YouTube, they look up your Instagram, and don't think if you delete your Instagram account, they don't have a way of finding information from it. You know, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Snapchat, every single thing they can find information about you. So what I told my son, I said, listen, son, I mean, and he's very outspoken, he's very similar to me, very, very socially conscious and so on. You know, and he has a lot of views about racism and good positive stuff for a young person. And I said to him, I said, but there's a way of saying something and there's a way of saying something. If you catch where I'm coming from. There's a way of expressing yourself and there's a way of expressing yourself. And you know, after that first conversation, you know, he was good, he's good. But it's so important to your social media presence. It's you, it's an extension of you, you know? So whatever you put out there, that is what you're telling people who you are. And coaches don't only look for athletic ability and academic ability. They also look for character, character. And I will tell you this, Anthony, that coach, Bill Killett, my coach who got fired after my freshman year, up to as long as I think 20, 25 years after that incident, that coach would always contact me and thank me, always thank me for standing up for him. Yeah.
Very good information, Fitz. Very good information that we could get this information across to kids so they could understand the process of what is transpiring while you in school. As one coach mentioned to me that I'm very close to here, a US educator in terms of licensing, and he said to me one time, he said, Anthony, you have to function like the camera is on you at all times.
Yeah.
You have to function, Anthony, like there's a camera on you at all times. Once you open that door and you go outside, you function like there's a camera on you at all times. And you have to be able to carry yourself in certain manners. And we are human, you know, we are human. We don't always do things that we may want to do at times. And we, you know, but you have to carry yourself in a particular manner.
And I'll tell you, I'll tell you that if I can
sure.
add to that as well. You know, I'm an extremely confident person,
Right.
to the point where sometimes people think I'm as we say in the Caribbean, you know, I'm bragging and I'm arrogant and all that stuff.
Right.
Nothing of the sort. But I've always enjoyed the spotlight, always, from since I was a kid, you know, and I think that's what helped to make me so successful as a soccer player, and beyond that. I mean, I would come out and I would be like, yeah, I'm the man, you know, and I'm saying that to say today, as a member of parliament, that attitude and that awareness that all eyes are, I always felt like eyes are always on me. And as you said, you conduct yourself accordingly. And today, as a member of parliament, in today's social environment with all the social media and everything, if you blink one eye and leave the other one open, somebody already has that on video. You know what I mean? So that prepared me for my role now as a member of parliament. And so sometimes I hear people say, oh my God, you have to be so careful and you can't do this. And I'm like, well, for me, that's like second nature because that's how I've always been. You know, but it comes with practice. It comes with practice. You gotta have that, that mindset has to become second nature. You know, that somebody is always watching you. You know, there was a song, you're probably too young, Anthony, but there was a song back in the day, I got a feeling somebody's watching me.
Oh, yes, man. No, man. I might be, but I'm not that young, man. I remember that song, man.
That's right.
That is Michael Jackson, I believe. I have a feeling somebody. Yeah, that's Michael Jackson, I think, sing that song.
No.
Didn't sing that? Michael didn't sing that one?
No, it was like, I got a feeling somebody's watching me.
That was an old disco. That was an old disco song.
Right.
That was an old disco song. Not Michael.
The young kids on the program probably laughing and stuff, but that's when music used to be music. I don't know what these kids listen to now.
Yeah, that was an old disco sound way back, I think in the 80s.
That's right.
In the 80s, that was an old disco sound back in the 80s. And I love also too how you bring across the point of loyalty, because I'm trying to explain to a number of kids and in my WhatsApp groups. I have one group with full and another group that is filling up more, and I continue to send information to the kids to explain to them about loyalty. You know, one of the things I mentioned to parents too, and especially with Caribbean kids, and I said to the parents, please don't get me wrong, but I have to tell your kid that I'm assisting your kid, not helping your kid.
Yeah.
Because when you say that I'm helping you, it's like some of these kids don't move.
They become dependent.
Yeah, that's it. But if I'm assisting you, there's things you got to do in the process. And one of the things I mentioned to the kids too, you know, we have different programs going on. And this is something that I would say in our generation, you know, our parents, they need to mention this to us. But we realize that when someone is helping you do something, you get involved and help them to help you.
Yeah.
Because when this is going on, it becomes much easier for them to help you. But we have some kids in this generation now that they don't understand, look, this person is really getting and helping me to get a scholarship. And if you add up that scholarship, it's really hundreds of thousands of dollars in your own currency and in the US. And this person is really helping me. What can I do to assist this person so they can continue helping me?
That's correct.
To reach my goal. And this is something I try to get you, excuse, to kids and their parents. If you are helping me as a person, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that you are comfortable helping me.
Right. And the very concept of help implies that the recipient of that help is already doing something anyway. Help means, as you say, assisting. So if you're not doing something, then I'm not helping you. I'm doing it for you.
That's it.
You know, so it means that you have a responsibility. You, the student athlete, the young player, the parent, you have a responsibility to do your part. And the issue of loyalty it's so critical, because for me, loyalty underpins trust. And trust to me is the most important prerequisite for any successful relationship.
Very much
Whether
so.
it's parent-child relationship, coach-player, student-teacher, boss-worker, whatever it is, trust to me is the most important prerequisite for any successful relationship. And without relationships, there is no life.
Yes,
Because otherwise we would have all been living on our own individual planet. The fact that we all live on this Mother Earth together means that we have to relate to each other. And we are better served if we strive for successful relationships. And successful relationships are highly dependent on trust. And trust to me is part of trust is as a result of loyalty.
Critical information there you're sharing for the kids and to really grasp it and understand what is happening. You know, because you're going to a school and this is something a lot of kids don't realize. You're going to school and you're going to be playing for that name. If it's Howard University, San Francisco Junior College, whatever school, you carry that logo.
Yes.
You carry that school name. You're representing that name. You're loyal to that name.
Right.
And when you leave that learning institution, you still remain loyal, because I know you still go and pull up information on Old Dominion and see what's happening. And you remain loyal to that because you realize what it has done for you as a person in your development and your growth. And you be loyal to it. And this is something I mentioned to a lot of the kids. They have to understand that loyalty to what it is you're doing and commitment to it is very essential for your success as a person. And when you leave, wherever you leave, maybe a Caribbean country, United States or Europe or Africa, you are representing your family's name, you are representing your community, you're representing your village, you're representing your Caribbean country, you're representing, and you have this that you're carrying with you at all times. And it will make you think twice sometimes before you would go and do anything that you know, hey, you know, it's much more easier for this information to get back to XYZ, what is happening. So I got to carry myself in a particular way. Like, for instance, I can tell you of a story that I was here in the US at one point working for an English company. And I think something transpired with some of the coaches. And then I said to some of the coaches, I said, well, you know, they said, well, Anthony, what's going on with you? You ain't saying anything, you ain't involved in it. I said, man, let me explain something to you, man. I cannot afford to get myself involved in that because one, my name is Anthony Roy. I represent my family, which is Roy's. Two, my community. Three, the village that I come from. Four, Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, so I have to be very careful in what I'm doing. And then I understand certain things here that I would not mention, you know, that I know where I'm at. And I know the country that I'm in. And I know certain things that I would be able to do and get away, and certain things I can't get away. So I have to carry myself in a particular manner. And this is some of the information I try to share with them. But guys, please feel free if there's any questions. I know we asked a lot of different questions. Fitz, I know also too, you mentioned to me that you have to go on to a launch just now. Some
young guys, they have a theater company, sort of an entertainment company, and they're premiering their first short movie today. So you know, I've been very supportive of them, and I can't disappoint them. I have to be there, but I still have a few minutes. I'd love to stay here if persons have questions.
Beautiful. Well, that was some of the questions that I sent out to you. Yes, and I know Tamara too wanted to kick out some questions. But I want to thank you too for being here too and sharing some information. And what I like about it too, I didn't have to prompt you with some of that information because you live that, you live it. You've been in there, you understand what is required of you in those situations, and you know the outcome that you want and what you got to do for the outcome to be that way. And it's so nice to know that you're back home in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're back home serving your people, and some of the same people you may have grown up with. You know, you walk the streets with and you play with as kids, and you are back there, and they can look at you and say, this is the same person that I went to pelt mango with, or I went to get guava with, or I went and bathe in the river with.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And these things that I explain to kids, you know, you got to make that sacrifice because, and I know you could attest it, and that is one of the questions I'd like to ask you. What state of mind you were in when you realized that, okay, you have to leave your family, a place that is familiar to you, to go to a place that is unfamiliar, that you have to make familiar eventually?
Well, I had mixed emotions. I mean, I realized that, look, if I want to make any sort of a progress, well, and I guess progress is relative, it depends on how you define it. But for me, I wanted to be a successful career person. When I got my scholarship, I didn't even know what I wanted to study, because in those days we didn't have career guidance and career counseling and all that stuff. You know, we were lucky if we were able to have our English teacher. Well, you know, we had our basic teachers in place. I didn't even study economics in high school. When I got to university, I said, well, I don't know what I'm going to study. I'm going to study dentistry, you know, because at the time you had to indicate what you wanted your major to be and so on. But anyway, I ended up studying economics, and I had mixed emotions because I was excited. Here is my opportunity to really, you know, make somebody of myself. But at the same time, I was like, man, I've never been outside of St. Vincent except less than a handful of times. You know, when I got to Norfolk, Virginia, I went with one big suitcase, and I did not get my suitcase until my suitcase went all over the United States before it got to Norfolk, Virginia. I didn't get my suitcase for about 2 or 3 weeks. We started preseason and I didn't have my suitcase. So I had to buy, we had an AstroTurf field. So I had to buy a turf soccer shoe. And some of my teammates loaned me clothes. The coach got me a few things, you know. So I had mixed feelings. And again, as I said, back in those days, you didn't have social media. I remember lining up in the dormitories, lining up to wait on the payphone. Some of these kids probably don't know what a payphone is, a coin where you put in the quarter, you pick up the phone and you dial. And of course, to make a call from Norfolk, Virginia to St. Vincent back in those days, it would cost you like about $3 or $4 in quarters. And by the time you say, hi, mom, how are you doing? The money is done, you know? So I was very, very lonely. I was homesick, you know, but I kept focusing on that one thing. This is my one opportunity to make somebody of myself. And it was a huge sacrifice emotionally, physically, I mean, you name it, psychologically, but I'm glad I made that sacrifice. I'm very happy I made that sacrifice.
I think after a while it becomes a bit easier when you continue moving, you continue going, you have that love for soccer, you playing games, and then you traveling. That's one of the good things when you're here to go to school. You do some traveling, you go to different states, and you continue playing, you meet new friends and you develop, and then after a while, you know, you look back and you realize, wait, I'm putting down some roots here.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm building some foundation here. You know,
that's correct.
I have people around me now. I know XYZ. You know, they welcome me now, and I have some new friends. And I think I can make it. I think I can do this now. You know, you start gathering that wind beneath your wings. That hey.
Well, and I can attest to that with my son and myself. When he left Canada to go down to, first of all, he went down to Brunswick School in Connecticut, And then he went on to McDuffie for a little bit, and then Canterbury. And you know, my son and I are like, we have such a bond. And we would speak 3-4 times a day when he first left, you know, and then we would be talking sometimes in between classes. He would call me and stuff like that. And then after a while, the conversation, the frequency started getting less and less, you know, and I realized, as you said, he started to get that wind beneath himself and developing good friendships, you know, and doing things. And now, I mean, he's like a born New Yorker. He knows New York like the back of his hand. And he's telling me, Dad, you got to come to New York. Let's hang out. I'll take you to the good places and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, but you're absolutely correct. Relationships, again, you know, you build those relationships, you build those friendships, but you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared to make that transition from one stage, from one environment to the other. That's how you develop. That's how you grow.
What one comes to mind is a scripture in the Bible, man. When the Lord said, after you suffer a while, the Lord will establish you and make you whole.
That's right. That's right. You know, and I just to add to that as well, I remember when I was in Canada a few years before I came back, you know, when I first moved to Canada from South America, you know, it took me a while to really settle myself. And then I eventually got a gig as a university lecturer in Saskatchewan at the University of Regina. But prior to that, you know, I was like, man, I don't know what's going on. I had to do little odds and ends jobs there. And I was like, this could not be happening because, you know, here I am, a former diplomat, played soccer for my country, and I'm here hustling, you know. And then one lady in my church, she said to me, she said, Fitz, the Lord is chastening you for something bigger in the future. And now that I look back, I realize what she was saying. All those sacrifices and those challenges, even after being so accomplished and so successful, really, I can see the utility and the value of those challenges when I first moved to Canada, and the importance of that to me now as a member of parliament, as a servant of my people here in St. Vincent.